Welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the chest, or the pectoralis muscle. So, to start off, like we always do, we'll talk about the function and the attachment points of the pec. Alright, so your pec attaches in your upper arm, or your humerus, and it fans out to attach across your sternum and your clavicle. So, the function of the pec, right, when it contracts, is horizontal adduction, which is rotating your arms, your upper arm specifically, around and towards the center line of your body. So as we mentioned before, the chest muscles fan out, right? That means they run in different directions. So because of this, motions that have an upward angle like this will have resistance more directly in line with your upper chest fibers and will therefore bias your upper chest. Similarly, exercises with a downward angle like this will put that resistance more directly in line with your lower chest fibers and bias your lower chest. Okay, so with the basics out of the way, let's get to my favorite in-home gym chest exercises. So our first exercise is a dumbbell chest press. Right, I did a whole video covering push-ups and push-up variations, and those are also great at-home chest exercises. A dumbbell chest press is similar to push-up, except it's basically reverse, right? Instead of pushing yourself up, your body's against the bench and you're pushing weights up. Right? What's great about this is that it's very easy to add load and track your progress that way. Right? Just get bigger dumbbells, heavier weights. Right? So since it's similar to that push-up, our elbow position is going to be similar as well. Right? We're going to have our elbows tucked around 45 degrees. It doesn't have to be exact, but around 45 degrees, where it feels comfortable for you, is going to be good. Right? Your motion is going to be across, in, and up. Okay? So let's talk about form cues. Right? You don't want to have your back arch big time when doing this, right? And you don't need to press your spine against the bench either. You have a natural posture and curvature to your spine. Just want to brace your core and maintain that throughout the exercise. You want to have your feet firmly planted on the ground. Elbows tucked around 45 degrees. You'll see my wrists and dumbbells are going to line up with those elbows as well. And the motion is going to be across and up. All right, so there should be a little bit of an upward angle, a bit more towards upper chest at your finishing point. All right, not straight up. All right, so you don't want to just be pushing straight up vertically. That path of travel should arc upward a little bit. Okay, and as mentioned before, the function of the chest is horizontal adduction, which is bringing your elbows across and in. So that's what you want to mentally cue in and focus on, right? You want to really think about contracting that chest and bringing your elbows across and in. If you focus too much on pushing the weights up with your hands, you're going to get less contraction across, and you'll probably get a little bit more tricep help as your focus is on pressing upwards. And tricep is a big muscle in terms of straightening out your arms. So, elbows tucked, shoulders against the bench, core tight, feet planted, across, in, and upward. All right, so now let's do it with some weights. All right, core tight, feet planted, elbows tucked, shoulder blades against the bench. Contract that chest, elbows across, in, and slightly upward. Nice big stretch, contract. Make sure you always control that eccentric. Stretch, contract. And control on the eccentric really means just 1 or 2 seconds, control that drop. Right? You don't need to go down super slow. All right, you just don't want to have the weight completely drop free like that. So, control, 1 or 2 seconds, good stretch, contract, bring those elbows across and in. So that's a dumbbell chest press.
And it's not really any different than a barbell bench press, which obviously is a very, very popular chest exercise, right? I don't have a barbell, so I don't do that here, but also I prefer dumbbells just because being able to move them independently prevents any one side from helping out the other side. Right? If I'm doing a barbell, one side might overcompensate for the other side, but with independent dumbbells, each side is pressing that full weight on its own. So that's why I prefer dumbbells versus a barbell. But there's nothing wrong with barbell bench press. It's a great exercise. It's a classic. A lot of people use it and have built a great chest with it. So we did the flat dumbbell chest press, which is a great exercise, but I actually prefer an incline variation more. Right? So we mentioned before that your chest fibers fan out. So an incline is going to allow you to bias your upper chest fibers. Right? So you hear people say incline works upper chest. And that's true, but what that sounds like is it sounds like you're mainly only doing your upper chest. But really your entire chest is going to contract. You're going to get an overall chest workout with an incline. You're just going to get a little bit extra emphasis and work out of the upper fibers. Okay, and I find those are usually more lacking, and those create a more filled out looking chest and physique. So I prefer to do incline chest press. So the principles are going to stay the same. You want to keep your feet planted. Don't arc your back too much, so just keep your back neutral and braced. Your elbows are going to be tucked, just like before. And you're going to perform the exact same motion. Elbows tucked. Focus on bringing those elbows across and in. Core braced. Another popular chest exercise are dumbbell flies. So on dumbbell flies, basically you'll have your arms out like this when you're lying on the bench, and you'll bring your arms across and in. Okay, how I like to position my arms on dumbbell flies is basically lining them up a little bit below my shoulders, maybe around nipple line, and coming across there. Okay, the benefits of flies are you get a lot more stretch, right, in the chest muscle. In addition, because you have a lot longer lever length, you're going to be using a lot less weight. So if you don't have a lot of heavy dumbbells, you should be able to use significantly less weight and get an equal exercise stimulus doing flies. So we'll demonstrate. All right, same things before. Brace your core, not too much arcing your back. Feet planted. You just lower those weights, get a nice good stretch in your chest, and bring them across. Control that eccentric. So while free weight presses and flies are great exercises, people have been doing it forever and they'll definitely help you build a great chest, there is a limitation to it biomechanically. Right? As you watch my video about mechanics, you understand that dumbbells, any kind of free weight, is always working against gravity, which means resistance is always going only down in one direction. So what you'll notice in all these exercises is that when you're down here, right, the resistance is going down, and there'll be great, resistance against that adduction motion of the pec. Right? So if we're moving this way, we want the resistance going in that opposite direction. So this is great down here, but as you come across, you'll realize that the resistance is now not really going in the opposite direction of the contraction so much. Okay, and that's not a big problem. Right? Like I said, people have still built great chests doing free weight dumbbell and fly exercises. It's just something to know that the resistance profile will drop off, right, in that upper range. So I don't have a double cable machine here in my home gym, and this video is really about normal people doing exercise at home. But if you are going to the gym, then that's the benefit of having a cable machine, because cables will have the resistance going that way, which will give you more resistance through the entire range of motion of the adduction. The reason I bring that up is you see a lot of people doing a really narrow grip press, right? Saying that it's going to target their center chest. And I just want to explain why that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I'll show you what a lot of people do, claiming it targets the center chest, and explain maybe why they think that's the case. So what a lot of people do, or at least a lot of content I've seen, is they do a narrow grip press like this, claiming it will bias the center of your chest fibers, or that is the fibers close to your body's center line. And why that doesn't make that much sense is the aforementioned biomechanics, right? Your dumbbell weight is going straight down and the chest contracts across. So you're not really pressing, this weight isn't really going against the contraction of those chest fibers. Now, why people think it does is that if you hold your hands close and push down together, you'll feel that contraction there. But that's just because that's the contraction to bring your elbows across, right? That's the same as if I straighten out my arm, I got that contraction in that tricep. But the line of resistance, right? The muscle is contracting this way to get there. So if the weight's not going that way, the amount of weight I'm carrying isn't really contracting against the direction of the fibers in that contracted zone. So the best thing would be is you can have cables and come all the way across and get a really good squeeze. Now, that's not really that important if you're a regular person. It's not like you need to develop very specific parts of your chest, like inner and outer. I'm not even sure if it's possible really to bias, proximal or distal portions of the fibers, right? We know we can target upper and lower fibers overall, but in terms of proximal and distal, meaning closer and further away from your origin, I'm not really sure if you can target specific areas of the fiber like that. But if you did, you would want cables where the resistance profile is correct at that squeeze, right? If you're doing that narrow press a lot of people do, what you actually be working is a lot more of your anterior delts as well as your triceps, right? You'll get that contraction in the chest, but that's more a function of just it contracting for motion, not really working against that resistance or load. My last favorite chest exercise here at home are dips, right? Well, other than push-up variations, which I've covered in a push-up video, right? Good thing it's the last one because I don't have AC in my garage here. It's getting pretty hot here in California summer. But dips are a great chest exercise that's going to emphasize your lower chest fibers. So how I like to perform dips to help make it more of a chest exercise versus a tricep exercise is I like to bring my knees up. So when I bring my knees up, that angles my body forward, right? If your body angled forward, it becomes much more of a chest exercise. If your body is straight, your dip is going to be a lot more tricep focused, right? Because your body's straight and the main motion is just that elbow extension or straightening of the arms. Once you're angled forward, right, now your motion is going against those lower chest fibers. And bringing your knees up is just a really easy way to get their body balanced into that forward leaning position. So once again, want to brace your core, knees forward, control the eccentric. So that's chest focused dips, and that rounds out my favorite home gym chest exercises. Right? If you have any more to add that I haven't thought of, I'd love to hear it. It's always great to learn more. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who know a lot more things I haven't thought about. So leave those comments below, and that'd be great. All right, if you made it to the end of the video, that's awesome. I really appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, that would be amazing. So I'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.